You have found yourself on another episode of Locked On Bulls. In today's episode, me and Pat are going to talk about the Bulls attending a workout for Dion Waiters. Who is he? No, we know who he is. We're also going to ask.
Come on. He's not Jordan Crawford.
We're also going to ask, has AK and the Bulls front office set a timeline on its current core, considering the deals they gave out this summer? And lastly, we're going to grade the Bulls free agency thus far. All that and more on today's episode of Locked On Bulls.
You are Locked On Bulls, your daily podcast on the Chicago Bulls, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thank you for tuning in to Locked On Bulls, member of the Locked On Podcast Network, where it's your team every day. That is Pat the Designer, host and creator of the Windy City Breeze and host of the Chicago Bears podcast over at ESPN 1000. I'm Haize, host and creator of Chicago Bulls and Chicago Bears Central. But Pat, let's go ahead and get into the topics for today. The Bulls attended a workout for Dion Waiters and apparently Henry Giles as well. Dion Waiters is a player that at one point in his career shot 40% from three-point range. The Bulls do need three-point shooting. What do you make of this, Pat? Anything? Is a lot to do about nothing?
Tells me they're looking, right? You're looking for a vet. I mean, Dion Waiters is only 31 years old. Hasn't played since 2021, it looks like. Last 7 games with the Lakers. Okay. Or I'm sorry, 2020, 2019-2020 season last time he played. I don't really know what sent him out of the league either. I mean, listen, he was a guy who could. He always
have something to do with a lack of skill. It could just have something a little bit.
Well, I mean, he always was a guy that could score. You know what I mean? I don't know what role they were asking him to play on that Lakers team. But even over with the Lakers, he was able to put up 12 points a game. Put up 15 points a game relatively with the Heat. The three-point shooting kind of is what stuck out to you on that Miami team, especially that first season. But 40%, 39.5, I guess I'll give it to him only one time. And outside of that, you're talking about 30s. You're talking about 37%. Also a guy who dealt with a little bit of injury.
He put up 12 points for the Lakers on 10 and a half shots per game. That's... Bro,
get you 130 million in Houston.
Terrence Ross is right there, bro. He's right there. I'd rather sign him over Dion Waiters. Come on, bro.
Get you 130 million in Houston, bro.
Bro, you in this Dylan Brooks narrative, bro. That is funny.
Oh, it ain't even Dylan Brooks. I'm talking about Fred VanVleet.
Oh, come on now, bro. Fred VanVleet's a lot better than Dion Waiters.
Fred take a lot of shots to miss a lot of shots.
I mean, but he's still a lot better than Dion Waiters.
It's just a younger version. But at the end of the day, I just, I mean, listen, I don't know what he's going to bring to the Bulls. I think that this is just kind of them looking around to see if there's anybody out there who still can provide, who's, trying to make a comeback into the league. We see players do this all the time. So I'd rather have Dion Waiters than Harry Giles any day, though. So
I mean, Harry Giles is a non-starter. Like, it's just, if the Bulls sign Harry Giles, like, we added big man depth, I'd be like, yeah, can Marco come back, please?
All the way over in Serbia, please. We miss you.
Can y'all please just bring Marco back? What is happening here? He's been
gone for 3 days. He's going to play probably less than Marco did. But nah, I just... Not even gonna get to put him in and get dunked on, bro. I don't know, bro. Like, I don't know what to make of this. Like, it was such a random tweet to see today. A Dion Waiters tweet is not what I thought was gonna come across my timeline today.
Nobody did.
Is there a season? And here's the funny thing, right? I'm just trying to find a season in here where I'm like, yeah, he did that. Like, it's that 1 year with the Heat. That's it. That first year where you were like,
wait a second. Dion Waiters has a ring. He was on the Lakers championship team. This is so let's put some respect on his name. You mean to tell me that the Bulls went to work out with NBA champion Dion Waiters, Pat? Come on, man. Put some respect on that man's name, bro. Come on.
Hey, Dion Waiters might have a couple of rings, bro. If he got one with the Lakers, I think he also has one with the Cavs.
What years did the Cavs win the title?
15, right?
No, can't be.
What year did the Cavs? No, Golden State.
That was the year that they must have lost the finals.
Look how many rings Dion Waiters got, man. I don't know. I mean, listen, it don't matter. It doesn't change the player.
Yeah,
that was
today. That was the year that Golden State beat the Cavs 4-2 in the final. So no, he does not have 2 rings.
Okay, all right, cool. I was gonna say, I was like, Dion Waiters, man. If he had just stuck around one more year, but LeBron probably traded him. That happens, man. You gotta watch your back out there. I don't know, man. Like here, let me ask you this, right? Outside of a Dion Waiters, is there somebody out there that you're looking at that maybe had a name in the past or any, right? Like I always hear, like, technically, I guess Rondo hasn't officially retired, even though he's coaching now. Somebody brought Rondo up. Like, is there anybody out there that you're like, hey man, maybe he's just a point guard that got something left in him?
No. Just bring back my dude Io, bro. Like, let's stop playing out here, man. Like, Dion Waiters, bro. Like, this is where we are right now.
Well, this is where we are. Io's up to Io, though. The QO is out there.
Yeah, the qualifying offer is out there. But I think ultimately, like, the qualifying offers is just to retain their rights. Like, you can offer them a long-term deal.
So, I ain't offering Io a long-term deal right now, though.
Oh, I am. 3 years at $4 million each. I'll give you that. 3 years,
$4 million each is crazy.
Yeah. That's
you
what we
give that
got
man a
for
$12 million deal.
$12 million contract, bro. What you mean?
Hey, calm down there, Scottie Pippen.
Hey, listen. No, see, Jerry would be like, listen, we got a 5-year veteran minimum deal for you, IL. Take this deal. I wouldn't take it, but take this deal.
I wouldn't take this deal at all, IO, but you ain't got a lot of options. You about to be out the NBA. Here's the wild part, right? Are you surprised, right? Because we talked about Javonte. Are you surprised how many people that the Bulls fans value the rest of the NBA just does not seem to care that much about? Because it's not like we've really, like, I saw the list of, like, best free agent guards left available.
And Io is high on that list.
And Io is on that list. But the only team we've heard about even interested in him is the Toronto Raptors.
And that was a rumor. Here's what I'll say, bro. It happens all the time, bro. It happens, like, for example, it happens with all Chicago teams. Look at the Bears. Look at how many of those 1-year deals that Ryan Poles gave out to players who are not getting any type. They're still free agents for the Chicago Bears right now. It's that type of year, bro.
Al-Qadim Muhammad out here, bro.
Al-Qadim Muhammad, bro. That dude was terrible. But yeah, man. No, I mean, listen, I'd rather them try to sign Jordan Crawford.
Dang. I mean, I don't know why the stray came in. I mean, Jesus. I'd rather them try to sign Jamal if we just go into dudes that used to be in the league. What J.R. Smith got going on?
Seriously, so here's I do want to present this serious question. I know we're having fun with this topic, but all jokes aside, considering, the Bulls are trying to get into, like, do you think if as a bucket off the bench, Christian Wood has not gotten rumored for any deals. If it gets close to training camp, Christian Wood's still out there. He's willing to take a 1-year, $5-6 million for basically the remaining of the mid-level exception. Would you bring in Christian Wood for that for 1 year?
Christian Wood, that's fine. I don't mind Christian Wood. Here's the thing: you just got to know what you're getting on the other end. Here's my thing that I hate about all fan bases, but I will talk about the Bulls fan base because this is Locked On Bulls, but about all fan bases, to be honest with you. We'll get Christian Wood in here. Christian Wood will be exactly what Christian Wood is, and Bulls fans will sit here and complain to me that, oh my God, Christian Wood is a terrible defender. You have to deal with people with knowledge. When mugs sit here and they're like, Vooch is awful in the pick and roll, I just say, go watch his Orlando tape. And you show me the moment that he was dominant in the pick and roll. I feel the same way about Christian Wood. Can he go out there off of the bench and give me 20 points and 10 rebounds? We know he can. But he's such a bad defender that nobody wants him. So you just got to deal with that.
Yeah. And Christian Wood is a player that I literally look to, and people are like, Marco was never an NBA player. I'm like, listen, Marco don't play defense worse than Christian Wood does. That's all I'm gonna say on that.
He might. I'm not gonna lie to you. Christian Wood still averaged like 2 blocks a game, don't he?
Christian Wood had a season where he averaged 2.5 blocks per game, which is bananas, bro.
Hey, and here's the thing. But see, this is my thing with Christian Wood too. You also have to know how to hide a player like that. You need a defensive system that can hide a player like that, because if you have a system that allows a player like that to be protected on the defensive end, then you get the 2 blocks a game And he's not just getting cooked every single play. The problem is we're probably throwing him out there with a guy like Andre Drummond, which, yes, Andre Drummond is a little bit better of a on-ball defender, definitely a good rim protector, but it still ain't, like I don't want to see Andre Drummond one-on-one with nobody either.
Yeah. I mean, listen, the Bulls it looks like they're going to shape up to have some options for them here at the back end of free agency if they decide to use the rest of their mid-level exception, if that disabled player exception comes through. And we'll see. Just please, God, do not use it on Dion Waiters. That's all I can say with it.
You already know the second we post this pod, it's going to be
I know,
Chicago
bro.
Bulls
I'm going to be highly upset. But
for the $10 million disabled player exception.
Oh God, no! That's literally
right.
I will quit this podcast, bro. Like if I hear that the Chicago Bulls gave their full $10 million disabled player, I'm quitting. Like, don't even worry about it. I'm quitting.
Hey.
You got it. Because I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it, bro. I'm not doing it.
They go come into the next episode. It's gonna be like, welcome into Locked On Bulls. Remember the Locked On Podcast Network. I'm all alone. I miss my friend.
Bro, yeah, because that's bad. It's bad and ugly. But next up, we're gonna be talking.
Bad and
ugly. Next up, we're gonna be talking about has the front office unofficially put a timeline on the Chicago Bulls core. But before we get into that, I got to talk to you guys about one of our sponsors, and that is Ibotta. It's officially summer, and a new season means new clothes. But your closet shouldn't be the only thing growing when you make these purchases. Now you can also watch your cash back grow with each purchase with Ibotta. Ibotta gives you cash back on hundreds of grocery items, from produce to personal care to pantry goods, so you can make sure you're beating inflation no matter what you're purchasing. Either link your loyalty account or upload your receipt after you shop and get your cash back. It's that easy. The average Ibotta user earns $120 per year. That could cover the cost of an entire shopping trip, or you can use your cash back to buy that flight you've been eyeing, that game you've been dying to go to, or that fancy dinner you've been craving. Other apps give you points that don't amount to much. With Ibotta, you get real cash back that you can cash out to your bank account, PayPal, or gift cards. You can earn cash back on hundreds of online brands and retailers too when you start with Ibotta, including Lowe's, Macy's, Sephora, Best Buy, and more. Right now, Ibotta is offering our listeners $5 just for trying Ibotta by using the code LOCKEDON when you register. Just go to the App Store or Google Play Store and download the free Ibotta app and use code LOCKED. That's Ibotta in the Google Play Store, IBOTTA, or the App Store, and use code LOCKED. All right, Pat. The Bulls this summer have gotten all team-friendly deals. Every deal has been very team-friendly, but none have been longer than 3 years. When you look at Vooch, 3 years. Kobe, 3 years. Javon Carter, 2 years. Torrey Craig, a 1+1. When you look at this situation, have the Bulls kind of unofficially giving a timeline on the score? Keep in mind, the Bulls' last first-round pick that they owe out is in 2025. To the San Antonio Spurs in the signing trade that got us DeMar DeRozan. But after that, it's free and clear. So if the Bulls were to look to go younger or to blow up this core, not necessarily blow up the entire roster, but that may be what they're eyeing as maybe their time to make a serious pivot. Zach LaVine will be 30 by then to change the direction of the roster if they feel like it's not going the way that they want. What do you think about that, Pat?
I think the timeline is shorter. I think that we could be talking about this season being a real pivot season. Because at the end of the day, listen, if Zach LaVine doesn't show you that he's going to take a step this season, which I don't expect him to be leaps and bounds better than we've seen him be, but right, like if he doesn't show you he's going to take a step as a number one option or as a leader of this team this season, you're spinning your wheels. Not to say that you want to get worse, but unless you feel like you're going to be able to go out and find your number one, this is probably a real last run it back effort with this core. And I think what goes into that is you got a bunch of dudes. Yeah, the 3 years is cool, but those are just team friendly contracts to me. Yeah. I can move Kobe White on a 3-year deal. I can move Nikola Vucevic on a 3-year deal. It's a lot harder to move those guys on 5-year deals, right? Zach LaVine's deal. I keep telling people, everybody's like, oh my God, he's a max player. Y'all got to stop saying words and start looking at the numbers when you look at max players out here. Y'all realize how much money freaking Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum are about to get, right? Like, do y'all realize how much money people are spending on players in the NBA? Damian Lillard is about to make $60 million in 2 years. Like, max player and the actual money spent are not the same thing. And so Zach
to just
LaVine's
put that
contract,
in perspective as well, like Zach LaVine and Fred VanVleet are basically making the same exact thing next season.
and one of them can shoot above 40% from the actual field.
Yeah.
And it's not Fred VanVleet. But anyway, I'm not getting off. This man made $130 million. He shoot like 30. What's he shoot? 39% from the field for his career.
I don't know. I'll look it up. Give me a second. I'll fact check on
Fred
that.
From the field is not good, bro. From 3, it still ain't good. But it's a little. No, it's just
Fred VanVleet for his career is a 40% shooter from the field, a 37% shooter from 3-point range.
Yeah.
You're so dramatic, bro.
I can do without it. I can do without it. Must was so excited to get Fred VanVleet. I was like, have y'all seen these percentages? Didn't he shoot? No, he shot 34% last season or 35% last season. Something like that.
Oh, yeah, he shot terribly last season. So last season he shot 39% from the field, but he shot 16 shots to average 19 points per game.
Yeah, that ain't it, bro. That ain't it. Hey, you know what you know what? Dion Waiters at $5 million can get you that. But I think to me, when I look at what this Bulls team realistically has moving forward, I see a team that is in a state of transition if you don't start seeing success from your younger players. I don't even think Zach LaVine is the end-all be-all on all of this, right? If Patrick Williams doesn't take a step, if you don't see something from Dalen Terry, if Kobe White doesn't show you consistency in a season, I think you're asking yourself, okay, realistically, you're going back and looking at the draft and you're saying we've missed on every pick to this point. You missed on Marco. P. Will looks like a guy. That's 4th overall. And there's a lot of players. A guy. You know what I mean? Yeah. And there's players behind him that are really, really good players right now. Yeah. One plays in Indiana. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like Kobe White wasn't on there, isn't on AK, but I mean, like, you haven't developed them since that time either. He's gotten a little bit better. The handle's definitely improved. I think you have to start looking at your first 4 or 5 draft, or what would this be? Your first 4 drafts, and say, hey, we've missed a lot.
Yeah. I mean, and when you look at our picks and who the Orlando Magic got with our picks, man, boy, could we use a Franz. A Franz Wagner right now could drastically change the Chicago Bulls. Totally.
Franz Wagner next to Nikola Vucevic is literally what we're looking for.
Bro, it's bananas, right, bro? Like
it's literally like, what we're looking for.
Like, bro, just imagine that. Like, it's just, but the Bulls wouldn't have picked him anyway. I don't know who they would have picked at that point, but they wouldn't have picked him.
And that's the tough part, right? It's like I kind of feel that way, or they wouldn't have played him.
That's true.
You know what I mean? Like, and that's the part for me with this Bulls team that frustrates me so much is your timeline to me is based on what these young guys can do, but you're also not putting these young guys in a position to do that.
Yeah. And that's the thing, right? Like, this team went win now, and I understand that. And I know everybody says, well, they decided to go win now. Like, guess what Pop did for so long? He went win now, and he still developed players along the way. They still developed a Tony Parker, a Manu Ginobili, Kawhi Leonard. They still developed those players along the way of being able to compete. And I'm not saying that Patrick Williams should have been getting 20 shots per game, but guess what? You could have developed him a little bit more. And so ultimately, I think the Bulls have to work on those things, man. They got things that they need to work on to help up the ceiling. But, you know, that quote came out today. I can't remember who made it, but like, yes, Patrick. Oh, no, it was something that Mark Eversley said when he was interviewed during the Summer League game, that they are looking for Patrick Williams to make a leap to help this team this year. And you're not wrong for that, right? The 3rd-year leap didn't happen. Can we get the 4th-year leap? You missed most of your rookie seasons. I mean, your sophomore season. Yeah. So now can you get that for us, right? Like,
that's the part to me why I think that there is the question mark on when are you going to actually. I shouldn't have to force you to be that guy, right? Like, at the end of the day, once Kawhi started getting shots, nobody had to force Kawhi to take shots.
But that's the thing, though. They had to run things for him so he could start feeling comfortable. It's difficult to just say, hey, I know your nature is to not take a bunch of shots. We're going to wait for you to start taking shots.
Yeah.
Pop explained it in the best way that I've ever heard it explained. He explained it as building Legos. You add something, and then when you see how they handle that, you add a little bit more, and then by then you're able to take the reins off. What we're seeing Billy Donovan basically do is like, go out there and figure it out. All right, coach. Cool. All right, that's not what we need you to do. Sit back down.
Yeah. But I think even with that, right, like Kawhi first 3 years has taken 9 shots a game, but he's knocking down 5 of them. You know what I mean? Like that's what we're looking for from P. Will on a consistent night. Like P. Will, he got more shots last season, right? And he started not, but it was just like, okay, like, no, like I see you taking shots, but like, why you can't hit this little floater that we saw you cashing out in all these practice videos? I
just knew that little push floater was going to turn into a weapon for him.
It did not. It turned into a weapon against them. All weapons formed against us did prosper. That's all I'm saying.
All right, man. I don't know. Next up, we're going to be talking about the free agent grade so far for the Chicago Bulls, man. But I do want to remind you guys that Locked On Bulls is free and available on every podcasting app and platform of your choice, as well as YouTube. Make sure you go out and support Locked On Bulls every day. Leave us a 5-star review on iTunes as well. It helps the podcast grow. Now, Pat, with that said, we're about to talk about these free agent grades so far, but before we do that, I need you to explain something, brother.
Let's do it.
I need you to explain something.
I wanna know if you really love me.
Bro, when I tell you, bro, you don't know how much, you know how like you can lift somebody's spirit and not even mean to, bro. When I tell you, I saw that on the night where I was like, man, I'm tired. I don't feel like it. I don't want to be bothered, bro. Let me scroll through Instagram, bro. I saw that and I was like, bro, my mood was astronomically better out of that. I gotta thank you for helping improve my mood, bro. One of these kids almost got strangled before I saw that, bro. I'm not gonna lie.
Hey, bro, I ain't gonna lie to you. I was just acting stupid because I was like, I was sitting there trying something I had never tried before, bro. I almost burnt the house down. I'm pretty sure I almost poisoned myself making that bag. Like, bro, first off, the omelet was phenomenal. Try that out. If y'all ain't seen the video, bro. Yeah. And Moss was sitting there. They was like, "Isn't it easier to make it in a frying pan?" I was like, "Bro, like I can pre-make this. Like I can literally make this
bag up, put it in the refrigerator, drop it one morning, go brush your teeth, come back and get it before you leave." Yeah,
banging some Whitney Houston in a minute, but banging some Whitney Houston is crazy. I mean, I've done it, but you know, not now. It's tough. But you know, that was just me being absolutely silly and idiotic because I thought I was gonna burn the house down. So I was just trying to, like, you know what that dance was? That was like, I was completely unsure if any of this was gonna work, and I was like, I need to do something because I'm terrified right now. I'm gonna mess up my wife's pot.
You had to work your own nerves out there for a second, bro. I feel you, man. I feel you. That was funny. Oh, I got to thank you for that video, bro. I'm not gonna lie to you, man. But with that said, let's get into these free agent. What's Tony Brothers doing here?
The tech, the dance that deserved the tech. That's on me. I got it.
Oh man, so what grade? When you look at what the Bulls have done so far, I think me and you have been high on the value of the contracts that they've given out. We've liked the players for the most part that they've brought in, and you know, hopefully more is coming down the way for the Chicago Bulls. What's your grade on them so far in free agency?
This is C plus. Get a solid C plus. Because you just did the necessity.
Yeah.
Right? Like, it's not like they made the move that to me makes them an NBA champion. It's not like they made the move that I think gets them to the top 3 in the Eastern Conference. Not maybe, right? Like, I mean, it's like I pointed out, when they've got a point guard, a legit point guard, they have a 61% win percentage. 61% probably gets you top 3 or 4 in the Eastern Conference, but it's also yet to be seen, right? Like the Javon Carter move to me seems solid. Bringing back Vooch is solid. Bringing back Kobe is just logical because he actually started to show you something. Why get rid of him now?
Yeah,
which is something most Chicago teams don't do. And I mean, like, I've told y'all, I'm more impressed by what we did off the court with adding in a player development guy and a shooting coach
Great points.
than I am by what we've done on the court. Because my issue with the Chicago Bulls is not what we needed to add, it's what the heck we need to develop. And my God, we now literally have 6 players on our team under 25. Like,
Great points.
what are you gonna? Somebody's got to learn how to play. We don't even know if these must be role players. So you got to fix that to me. Like, I mean, come on, dog.
I feel where you're coming from on that, and I think that what the Bulls have done, they've added some young talent as well. I don't want to overlook that in the free agent. Like, I think going out and getting Julian Phillips, if you saw that as a guy that you need and you feel like you can develop, cool. But we got to see you actually develop them, right? You gave up 2 second-round picks, which, okay, cool. You traded second-round picks, but like, we got to stop giving up stuff for people that don't turn into anything. And for them to turn into something, you have to invest in their future. So yeah. I hope that that's what we see now. Like, a new head of player development, love it. I love that you're putting that spotlight on player development. But if it doesn't net you something and actually one of these players develop, like if Julian Phillips, you can get him back to shooting that shot, and with what he can bring defensively, you can legitimately turn him to a 3-and-D guy.
Yeah.
Hey, listen, I think the world of that if you can actually do it. And if this was like the Spurs, the Heat, the Raptors, I'd be like, okay, cool, they're probably going to do that. We're the Chicago Bulls. You can't bet on player development here yet. You ain't showed us nothing.
Yeah. And I think here's the thing, right? Like, even with a guy like Julian Phillips, how many of that guy we going to get?
15 more of them?
I mean, dog, like, how much of a difference is Patrick Williams to Dalen Terry to Julian Phillips from DJJ to like,
they're very different players. Now they do have similar physical makeups, but they are all very different. Like the development path that they all can go on is like a branch. They may all start off at the same route, but like they can go very different ways with the skill sets that they have. But the fact of the matter is, again, it goes back to because we can't trust them to develop, we see them all as being the same exact guy. So like,
well, it's also how they utilized. I mean, what's Patrick Williams for us? 3-and-D?
Right. I mean,
what was DJJ for us? A little 3?
Nah, DJ wasn't no 3. He was D and block shots.
Hey, DJJ had them. He had that corner 3. See, the problem was they kept telling him take that top of the key 3, and that was horrible.
That corner 3
that
was
little
good.
Corner 3.
That corner 3 was good for about 2 weeks each season, bro, and then it fell off. Like it was like every season. It's like I got 2 weeks of this 3-point shooting for you guys. When I give it to you, that's on y'all. But
listen, whoa, that's crazy.
Hey, listen, Zion quotes be coming in here every day.
The Zion quotes just be dropping in.
Just be dropping,
but I mean, like Julian Phillips right now, like he's a player that we look at as, hey, is this guy going to be 3-and-D? You know what I mean? Like, or is he going to be more than that? But at a minimum, coming in, you just hope the 3 develops. Like, so for me, you have to find a way to turn these players into something. I love taking a swing. I'm not going to lie to you. For any Bulls fan that's upset that the Bulls went out and did something by trading back into the second round, I don't know what you got to take swings at guys. Now, I'd have rather took a swing at Emoni Bates, but that's neither here nor there.
I mean, a lot of people share that, though, that they wish that the swing would have been Emoni Bates. And I mean, I understand, especially, listen, I know Bulls fans. That Summer League game that he would drop 21 points in Summer League game. I knew it was going to be Bulls fans were gonna Bulls fan, and it was going to be, we did it again. We missed again. But let's wait and see how the career turns out. But, yeah, man. I think people forget, too, that Michael Beasley looked way better than Derrick Rose in the Summer League that they played. But you got to see how that career is going to go overall.
Yeah, he did look way better.
Yeah, considerably better.
He did look way better. Derrick
it wasn't just
bad
a little
in Summer
bit.
League almost. Yeah, Derrick almost looked bad in Summer League a little bit. He had one game where he was cooking.
It was one game. Matter of fact, I think we played against Michael Beasley. It was like the second game, and Beasley blocked Derrick Rose's shot. And I remember Bulls fans. Did we do it wrong? Then look at how that went.
That listen, if you're taking anything from Summer League, you wild.
I tell people that all the time.
Bro, Muzz out here taking stuff from Summer League crazy, bro. Like,
bro, Wemby
was a bust for 8 hours, bro.
For 8 hours, bro. 8 hours. He was a complete bust. And then look, y'all calm now.
I don't know, man. I do feel like Emoni Bates is going to be one of those players that we look back on and we go, wow. Could have had that guy. But it doesn't mean that I think that Julian Phillips is also going to be one of those guys that is a miss, right? Like the only time a guy's a miss is if your guy also missed.
That's true.
You don't feel that bad if you're like,
it's a great point.
Like how many players probably went behind? Name any guy that like was
it's like for this. It's just like this. Yes, the Portland Trailblazers tripped on drafting Bowie, whatever his name was,
Sam Bowie.
But the Houston Rockets don't look at the dream and be like, "Hey, we wish we would have got MJ."
They might.
I don't think so.
They might. Hey, listen, I think you love Hakeem, right? Listen, it's a lot easier.
Hakeem. I love Hakeem, bro.
It's a lot easier to stomach because you got 2 rings out of it.
Yeah. That's a fair point.
If you don't get the 2 rings, right? You like, I mean, like, yeah, we could have Michael.
Wait, will people be saying that the dream was a bust if he didn't get 2 rings? Is that what we're saying here?
Nah,
not a bust, but do you think people would be?
I think bust is such a new thing, though, right? Like we think of Charles Barkley as literally one of the best players to ever touch a basketball, still to this day.
Absolutely.
And he didn't get a ring. He got to a finals, right? The same way that we talk about, if we talked about players the same way now that we talked about Muggs back then, there would be so much more respect among the NBA communities for
that's a fact.
people's take. Because like the fact that people can look at a guy like Russell Westbrook and be like, oh, he's a terrible basketball player. He's never been good.
Like imagine how fans nowadays will look at Clyde Drexler.
I say, think about this. Imagine how fans would look at all their Mugs that, like, at the end of their career when they was old and busted, went to other teams and was still like the number 1 option on them team, like Chuck on like Houston at the end. You know what I mean? Like when you sit there, you just like, oh my God, like this man's 110 years old trying to do it. But Muggs would be killing him like he was 15, still like he was year 2 in the NBA. Like
that's funny.
It's a different time, man. So I don't even know how we got here, but shout out to this.
Yeah,
Hakeem Olajuwon. That's how we got here. Follow us on everything at Locked On Bulls. You can follow me on everything at Pat the Designer. And tip your waitresses. I don't know. I got nothing. It's late.
Yeah, y'all make sure y'all go and check out more Pat dancing because I'm sure it's bound to pop up at some point in time. But you guys can follow me at CEO Haize, the CEO Haize, and make sure you guys continue to check out Locked On Bulls. We're going to be free and available every day, dropping everyday content, even during the dead part of the off season. For Pat the Designer, I'm Haize. This has been Locked On Bulls, and guess what? We about this month. Peace, y'all.
Peace. Hey, we got an actual game to talk about tomorrow.
Oh, yeah, that's true.